welcome to Snapper Tactics Part 2. Before we get stuck into Part 2, we're going to address the elephant in the room, and that's this. Yes, I'm in a cast. I've got an injured neck, shadows on my ribs. There could be hairline fractures, we don't know. We're going to cut a long story short, because it is before the law enforcement, so courts and stuff, so can't say too much. But got my gear ready for Friday to get out go fishing. I got my gear ready on the Thursday, confirmed with the better half, hey, I'm going fishing. They said, yep, it's been crap weather, go for it. Alright, anyway, hence why they're called the better half. Went to the gym Friday night, got to get some dog food, some milk and some cheese. So I'll do that on the way home. Walked into Woolworths, started grabbing everything. A woman ran past me, screaming, he's got a weapon. And I said, who? She says, him. And I go, who's him? I walk around out of the aisle, and there was a bloke with a weapon, a very, very big weapon. Not a machete, but a big weapon. I'm not saying a pole or a baton. It was a very, very sharp weapon. Not allowed to say what it is. Anyway, I grabbed a weapon of my own, a pole that they have to defend myself as he was coming at me. And other people were standing behind me as well, not knowing that he had a second friend with him. That person's decided to go down the back of the aisle, come up from behind, is in the exact words of the police officers, what a coward, such and such. Attacks me from behind. Next minute I was on the floor with two assailants on me, and I've ended up with a fractured elbow, which hopefully can come out of this, believe it or not, so soon. So it's been in this for 3 days since this filming, 3 or 4 days. They're hoping a week max. Then I go into a heavy brace for a couple of weeks till it heals. For 2 or 3 weeks or whatever it is. So I've got a chip and a crack in my elbow, some hairline fractures in the back of my ribs, which doesn't really affect me life to life except for laying down. And I had really bad damaged tendons in my neck on this side. I was transported to hospital at the time, and I spent Saturday afternoon into Saturday night at the at the Western Hospital. So I've had a pretty eventful last few days. At the time of this filming, this is the temperature right now, even though Sunday was 27 degrees. Check the temperature of the bay. All right. We're way behind in this snapper season. So if you went out on that weekend and you caught nothing, it's not you. If you put everything into practice and you still caught nothing that you learnt from me, excuse me, it's not you. It was the water temperature. So in hindsight, it's helping me. I reckon we've got another week, a week and a half of slow fishing before it starts to pick up. Why is there a mess behind me? I'll get into what part 2 is in a second. But to rest assure more people, even the charter boys aren't starting until later this week. And still, when they start, and I know from my background, when they start, it's still a slow start, but they might find a couple of fish. So if you're recreationally want to go fishing and you're desperate to get back out, I'd wait till after this weekend. I will dare say by the 15th of October, we should start to see a good bite. The water temperature, if it hits 14, that's still good. But like I said in the previous episode, guys, we need 14.5, 15 and above to get a good bite. 14 degrees, you might get 1 fish, 2 fish, but we're still way too cold. So Mother Nature's helping me out by staying cold while I'm in a cast. So let's go into Snapper Tactics Part 2. And there was meant to be a different version of Part 2. I'll get into that now. It was meant to be all your rigs, terminal tackle, and all that, yeah? But I got a fair few emails of people asking me, can you mix it up a little bit? If you're not on the water or if you're not catching because, it is slow, Phil, we understand. Can you mix it up with something else to do with snapper besides the bait and rigs first? And then I got one email of someone saying to me, he has sold all his fishing gear and he's got soft plastics gear now and lure gear. And he wants to get into that more. And that's my forte. I love lure fishing for snapper. I love lure fishing in general. As you would have known from the old channel we had, it was all lure fishing. The newer videos that were on this one, it's still technically lure fishing, even though there's squid and stuff involved. I love lure fishing. Lure fishing is my forte. I do bait fishing. Everyone knows that. But yeah, anyway. So it got me thinking. Still doing the baits this week. Let's mix it up a little bit. And let's do a lure side. Soft plastics and hard bodies for snapper. So let's kick in to part 2 of snapper tactics. Now, just like part 1, it's going to be a full encyclopedia again. So you're going to want to sit back, tell your mates, tune into the channel, because guess what? There's some more awesome information coming right now. Here we go, guys. And quickly, those people who have been emailing me about guides, I've gotten back to some of you, not all of you, and that was because of this. So I will get back to you at some point this week, and we'll discuss that more. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of soft plastic and lure fishing for snapper. There is a lot of soft plastics out in the market, all right? A lot. And I mean a lot, guys. You gotta, if you're new into lure fishing, you're gonna be like, oh my God, this is such a headache. What am I getting myself into? I'm gonna, without offending people, dumb it down, but also give you the intel that you need to choose the right stuff. When it comes to lure fishing, guys, now none of this is sponsored or anything by any chance. So if you're seeing certain brands popping up here and there and you go, oh no, they've endorsed, no, they haven't. So I'm going to go into certain profiles first. So let's get a fair few out. All right, let's go into the basics first, I reckon, guys. All right, basics first. That's the plastic I'm looking for. Yes, it is. There's 2 types of bait fish profiles out there that everyone would know or have seen before. That's your jerk shad and your minnow lures. Some tackle stores call them wrong. Some tackle stores call them right. Some tackle stores call them the same thing. So, which is kind of confusing for some people. So, ignore the size, ignore the colors for now. I'm going to go back into that a little bit later. You got your jerk shad profile. Okay, jerk shad. You're going to have the photo up here so you can see it a lot better. Jerk shad. Now, what determines a jerk shad? If we look at the photo up here, it's got a belly, okay? Jerk shads have a belly. Don't let people tell you otherwise. It frustrates me when I see people fishing and they say, oh, I'm using a jerk shad and it's got that belly in it. I'm using a minnow lure, sorry. It frustrates me when people say, I'm using a minnow in videos and stuff and it's got this belly in it with the slit. I'm like, oh, that's a jerk shad. Now, it is a jerk shad. The difference between a jerk shad and a minnow doesn't matter how big the minnow is. I've got another version here just so you guys know what I'm talking about. But I'm going to use this one because it's nice and bright. See, there's barely any belly on that. It's a slimmer profile. It kind of hurts, but yeah, there's barely no belly on it. Minnow, right? Jerk shad is meant to look like a bait fish, like a proper bait fish. So belly, again, no belly. Check the image here. Okay, so you've got 2 different types of those, of fish profiles, right? But then we go into a third style. Now this third style, even though it's called a certain name, right? Even though it's called a certain name, and you'll see what I'm talking about in a second, it's a crossover. And I like it because it covers all bases. So you got this. Now what would you call this? Let's go up here so you can see the belly. What would you call that? I'm holding it. What would you call that? You say, Phil, that's a jerk shad again. Well, you're wrong. It's a paddle tail. Now, paddle tails, no matter what size they are, what brand they are a crossover between a minnow and a jerk shad, but with a paddle tail. So you're getting best of both worlds, but with the more action in it, okay? Now, a paddle tail, oh, I love them for a snapper. Now, that will work from the second you cast to the second it hits the bottom. All right, that's doing that the whole time. And when you flick it, look at this. I'm flicking it. And look what happens, right? It's got so much movement. It will trigger an aggressive attack from a snapper. Where your jerk shads, minimal movement. I'm shaking my hand, look at that, minimal movement. So when that rockets to the bottom, right, that's going to hit the bottom and it's just going to come straight down and you've got to jerk it. Hence the word jerk shad. Now, if you're sitting there going, this is great information, but I can't see how it works, I will be in a future episode putting all this into practice, and I will give a brief explanation out on the water when we finally get the snapper on the bite. So you will see this in action soon. But if you put this into action yourself at the moment, yeah, trust me. But what I will be doing as well is explaining on how to actually physically work the soft plastics and stuff in a future episode. So keep an eye for that. Same as your minnow, but unlike the jerk shad, the minnow has a bit more flexibility to it. So it's disappearing. That color is disappearing in the wall. So with the brightness behind me, I'll get another color out. All right. So minnows, see, again, different brand, but you'll be able to see this a bit better. But see how they've got a bit more flexibility to it, and they're a bit more floppy and stuff, see? All right? Hence the word minnow, all right? Where your paddle tail, look at that, it's more of a wobble, okay? So your minnow style will do this, like just paddle, like flex. No. Your minnow will just twitch down, where your paddle tail gives it that action, where your jerk shad will just with an odd little movement, okay? So in bait fish profile, you've got 3 types. Again, jerk shad, check where the defining part of a jerk shad is. Then you've got your minnow. Then you've got your paddle tail. All great plastics when it comes to snapper. Let's go sizes, right? So we've covered the profiles. Now let's cover the sizes. So jerk shads, paddle tails, minnows all come in the same sizes. Anywhere from 2 inch and believe it or not, or 2.5 inch. I've got one in a jerk shad at the moment. There it actually is. I use that even in Port Phillip Bay, just on pinkies. But this is more for my trout, redfin, flathead, stuff like that. Anyway, that will be in a future episode too, by the way. So these main bad boys come in a range of sizes, and they're pretty much all the same. So you can get them from 2.5 inch, which you wouldn't use in Port Phillip Bay. We're covering snapper, so you want your 4 inch to around 6.5 inch. Okay, now that will cover you from snapper from let's say 35, 40 centimeters, right? All the way through to 7 kilos, 8 kilos. But we're talking about Port Phillip Bay here, yeah? So anywhere up to 7 kilos. So your jerk shad, your paddle tail, and your minnow, right? They're the sizes you want. So we'll go through the size one more time for you guys. Anywhere between 4.5 inches, all the way to 6.5 inch. Targeting size of snapper would be, say, 38 centimeters to be fair, all the way through to 7 kilos. So, 80 centimeters, 90 centimeter fish. Okay? They're the sizes, right? They're the styles. Now, let's go through the colors of the soft plastics, right? For the jerk shads, right? And the minnows. Now, different plastics put out different silhouettes, different colors, so forth. The colors you would use for snapper and these plastics and other plastics as well that I'm going to go through all varies. So you got to listen carefully, yeah? The different shapes, different styles of plastics require different colors. It is actually technical. So let's go with your jerk shad. Let's go with your paddle tail and your minnows, right? Those proper fish profile soft plastics, okay? Let's go with that. So the depths you're going to use with those is anywhere from, let's say, 3 meters all the way to 20 meters, okay? They're a versatile plastic, but the colors vary to the depths that you are fishing, okay? So you're going to want to be using anywhere between 3 meters to 10 meters. So your colors really don't matter. Doesn't matter on the depths you're fishing, except for once you get to around that 15, 16, 20, 21 meters, okay? So anywhere in the shallows, I like to tend to go all natural colors and stuff like that in your shallow waters, because the snapper are actually moving a lot slower and actively hunting fish. Once we get to the deeper water, I like to go my brighter colors, so your yellows, your pinks, like this bad boy here, and so forth, and your whites and stuff. And in the shallows, I like to use whites as well. Okay, if your plastic's enhanced with UV, you're going to double your chances yet again. Now, the best style or the best color of a soft plastic in this fish profile is anywhere like these two, right? As in color wise. See how the belly, I don't know if you can see it, but the belly is white on that one. The belly is green on that one with a red back, okay? If you can get a plastic with two colors in it, right? Your white belly or a white top and a, you know, like a blue back, or a white belly and or a blue belly and a white back, or something like that. Stuff like this, you're gonna enhance your catch rate again, and that's because it puts out two silhouettes and it gives that more natural presentation. If you're fishing your deeper waters, the snapper are more on the move out there. They're all just, you know, grazing around and moving around. You're gonna want to go your brighter colors and your darker colors only. Okay, so your pinks, your yellows, your blacks, your reds and stuff for the silhouette, because the water is a lot shallow, a lot darker down there. So the snapper rely on silhouette to see what they're doing. Okay, where the shallow water, the snapper are actively hunting. It's a lot brighter. They can see what's going on. Okay, and your natural colors are going to help you a lot more. So again, I'm going to repeat it for you guys. Natural colors in shallower waters, brighter and duller colors in deeper water. What I mean by natural bait fish colors. So I'll go for a couple of random colors. Your blues, your whites, your blue and whites, your browns, your whites, your reds. So we've covered the bait fish side of things. We've covered the bait fish profiles, all right, for snapper, all right? Now, coming into sunrise and sunset for your snapper, you're going to want to choose those colors wisely, yeah? So sunrise, so from 5 a.m. all the way through to 9 a.m, you're going to want to try and do natural presentations, because the snapper are actively hunting, they're looking, and the same for afternoon sessions, okay? Now, let's go into another style of soft plastic and cover the colors in that as well. All right, because it's all good and all going buying and forking out, because these, look, soft plastics can cost a fair bit of money when you start buying all the stuff. And if you're choosing wrong colors, wrong sizes, you're gonna do yourself a mischief. All right. So let's go into another style. Now, the other style is one of my other favorite styles, and I'm pretty sure I bought it in. There it is. We're going to go curl tails. So a curl tail soft plastic, hence the word curl tail, has a curl tail. They come in a variety of plastics, okay? One of them I've actually ran out of, but others I have got with me, I'm pretty sure, yep. Right, so again, curl tails, grub tails, whatever you want to call them, they all come in a very range of size, shapes, colors. Now, we've got another bait fish profile and a curl tail, and that is what we actually call the wriggler. Now, if you're new to fishing, you don't know about this plastic, oh my god, you got to get onto it. I reckon it's the ultimate plastic for snapper, curl tail, wriggler. Now, the wriggler, I would say, hands down, best color, bloodworm. If you can get bloodworm, go for it, grab it. Or this one right here, silver fox. Right, silver fox. Now, these are called curl tails for one reason, hence the word. Oh, these are called wriggler or wriggler tails, curl tails, whatever you want to call them, for one reason, the tail. Now, this is a fish profile, okay? These plastics right here are your ultimate plastic for beginners. People who are learning the soft plastics. The days of tough bites, hard bites, where the fish are even refusing soft plastics, okay? Snapper are known to be a very aggressive fish. They will attack anything for territorial or feeding. So soft plastics actually covers sometimes a lot more than bait, all right? But when you've got those the bait fish presentation styles, they are the ultimate to learn. Reason is, plastic like this, like I said, rockets to the bottom, right, with minimal movement. This one has a bit of a wobble, right, but you're still going to have to part the action, okay? When you throw something like this one's 100 mil, so I'd use 100, 120 mil on all size snapper, even 140 mil, right? So the photo's up here. Check it out. Okay. This, why is it the beginner's fish? Beginners or a tough bite, so for beginners and tough bites, that tail is working the whole time. The second it hits the water, that kill tail is going all the way to the bottom, and you can work it like a squid jig. They're perfect for kids to get into lure fishing. You could literally sit there and just go, just a nice flick, let it hit the bottom, bounce, let it hit the bottom. You don't have to part actions, whip sideways, whip that way, you know, quickly wind, stop, and all this. You can just wind up the slack, which I'll explain in a future video. Great for land-based too. You know, you can just cast that out while you're waiting for your bait rods to go off, and just watch your bait rods, jerk the rod, watch your bait rods, jerk the rod, and then bang, on. You know what I mean? They'll just take it straight out of your hand. The Wriggler, probably the ultimate soft plastic for beginners or a tough bite. Then we're going to go into another version, which it's the same tail, but it's so confusing for one reason. Same tail, but they call it a grub tail because of the body shape. Okay. Now this one here, these grub tails are probably the best things in a regular tail because they'll cover all size snapper. Okay. This one here is a 5-inch. All right. 5 inches. Check that out. All right. Grub tail. Hence the word grub tail. It has the big tail on it. Here's the photo here. All right. And it's got a grub style body. It doesn't have a fish profile. See it? It has just a grub looking body. Now these ones will cover all size snapper, even at this size, 5-inch. Right? Even at this size here. The grub tail is the perfect all-rounder. Reason is, snapper from 30 centimeters all the way to 7 kilos will smash that plastic, no worries. Again, colors, with the grub tails, you can go more extravagant colors. I say you can go your natural, so all your natural colors, your blues, your browns, your whites and all that, and your blue and whites like that one, your fish kind of profile colors. But then you can throw something like this, a bright color one, and it works. There's nuclear chicken version in it. That works, right? Nuclear chicken's a good color. I don't know why. Just don't know why. Anyway, right, grub tails and the curl tails. So these two here are your ultimate plastic. You're learning to fish for snapper when the bite is tough, or you just want something to do and see if you can catch a fish while you're waiting for your baits to go off. They don't require action. Believe it or not, they're the type of plastic. You can even leave it in your rod holder, the curl tail and the grub tail. You can even leave them in your rod holder and let the natural buoyant of the boat just bounce it for you. In fact, I had a friend, Jack. We were off T16, if everyone knows where that is, a couple of years ago, and we had all the baits out. We're waiting for the snapper to go. There was boats everywhere. I don't like fishing in amongst the boats. I actually managed to get that area to myself until Jack went and ruined it for me, where he had a grub tail just bouncing in the rod holder, and that rod went tip into water and squealed off, and he ended up with a 5.75 kilo snapper. And actually outfished the baits that day, just bouncing. We got, I think, 4 snapper or 5 snapper on bait, and we'll catch them releasing as well, and he got around 4 or 5 just on that rod alone. But the second he landed that 5.75, and then he got another one straight after, boats just started anchoring around us. But we probably outfished most of those boats that day. They didn't know the secret. I knew the secret, but I didn't take any plastics with me that day. I was an idiot. He just found that one. He had a grubby packet sitting in the bottom of his tackle box, had been opened. It was probably 3 or 4 years old. He goes, have you got a jig head in the boat? I'm like, yeah. He goes, can I just chuck that on and see what happens? And it ended up being the best thing he ever did. So that's your grub style and your curl tail style soft plastics. Again, colors, you know, naturals in the shallows go brighter once you're deeper, but with the grub tails you can get away with a bit of a brighter color because it puts out that flash in the shallows, right? Depths, I would be using those. I wouldn't use smaller than a 5-inch in grub tails. So the depth varies. You can go from 3 meters all the way to 20 meters with those ones. Okay. Now we're going to go into now I love using natural presentations for when it comes to snapper. I'm a big fan of natural presentation. Okay. Big fan. Love it. This thing here has to be the ultimate natural plastic for a snapper. Now it's by Rapala. It's their new range of plastics apparently called Crush City. I'm talking about prawn. Now you're probably sitting there going, hang on mate. We're talking about snapper, a predator that goes hunting and harassing schools of bait fish in Port Phillip Bay, slaughtering them every day and so forth. And now you're telling us prawn? So this bad boy here, yeah, I'm telling you prawn. Snapper, especially if you're fishing the shallow reefs and stuff, which I'll get to a little bit later, there's a lot of shrimp and prawns even in Port Phillip Bay, okay? Those snapper are head down, looking for stuff when they're moving, when they're headbutting the reefs and eating crustaceans. When they're eating crustaceans and stuff, they see that, they're going to smash it. Now, when it comes to prawns and shrimp style, try and go as natural as possible, because I'm a big believer in those ones, especially the snapper are head down the whole time. Okay? They're eating. They're looking, they're observing, they're seeing it. It's not a reaction bite, it's a feeding bite. How you going, buddy? Excuse the cat. Yeah, so natural as possible. There is a lot, even in Rapala, right? Check this one, right? They've got that one there. It's bright, it's, you know. Hey, I'm not saying it won't work. They're not real, buddy. Cat was trying to eat my soft plastics. I'm not saying the bright colours won't work, but I'm saying that you'll catch more with a natural presentation, okay? You're not... How many reviews are going out there buying pilchards for snapper and they're bright yellow? How many of you have gone and bought prawns for other species of fish as well, right? You go and buy your packets of prawns. Any of them are yellow? Are there any of them green? No. That's what I'm trying to say. Natural presentation. The fish know what they're looking for. It's the same with these. Right? Even a red, it puts out a natural presentation. That might even look like a squid because it's browny red. You know what I'm saying? Where this one, yeah, I don't know. Right? How many fish look like that? But these do work on the school fish. There's a saying in fishing, the fish don't get big from being stupid. Your small school fish, they're going to smash every colour. Doesn't matter. But if you're chasing that proper snapper and you want that challenge, you've got to go the natural profile. And then the natural colours, okay? Now, we're going to cover another style of soft plastic. And this is where I'm talking about being natural. Oh, actually, hang on. No, we're not. Where is it? There it is. There's another style of minnow, and this is by Nomad. So, in no way, shape or form, indoors. I got these as a gift. The reason why I'm showing this one, this is going to cover me in the freshwater too, so you might see these appear in another episode. I think this is the ultimate minnow style soft plastic. Why I'm saying that? Check that out. Can you see those dots inside and this pole? You can alter the weight, add weight, take weight away. You can buy spare weights for them. All right, and they're UV enhanced as well. All right. These bad boys here, they come in a range of sizes, but this is how good my kids are. They bought me the 4.5 inch. That's a 4.5 inch, right? Or 4 inch, sorry, 4 inch. Is it? Yeah, 4 inch, right? I can't wait to start using them. I haven't used them yet. Obviously the weather hasn't helped. Put it this way. I reckon they're going to be the ultimate minnow when it comes to snapper. Because it could be a windy day, land-based, boat-based, doesn't matter. Or the sink rate's just not right. You can alter that sink rate so the plastic sinks like that. Or the plastic sinks like that. Or the plastic sinks like that. Or if you're not getting enough casting distance, add another ball bearing to it and you're launching that bad boy right out into the snapper. So, we're going to go to the other natural presentation. Right? And another style of soft plastic. And if you're hearing me digging, it's because I'm trying to get to them. Here we are. I've got another packet over here somewhere of another brand, which I'm going to show you the different variations. Now, I've already read the packaging on this. I'm not taking them out because apparently when you take them out, you've got to put them back in 100% straight. Otherwise, they can alter their swim action. So when you're finished with these, you've got to wash them, let them dry, put them back in, which I don't mind doing that. Yeah. You can't leave these touching other ones apparently because they can melt. So it's got, I think these are made of the same material as Z-Mans. That's your ultimate natural presentation right there. Right, here's a photo of it. Squid. Alright, squid style soft plastics. Alright. Now, if you're going to use these styles, alright, soft plastic, you're not going to want to go. You're not going to want to go more than 5 inches. Okay. If you think about it, there's a lot of little squid in the bay. Right. There's not many squid in our bay that the snapper will chase at a 7 or 8 inch. Right, 6 inches. I go 4.5, 5 inch squids. They are the ultimate soft plastic. Natural colours only when it comes to squid. I don't care if your mates, yeah, goes, I'm going to go and buy the bright pink ones. Let him. I'm telling you now, you'll catch way more on a squid style soft plastic. So here they are again. Right, they look like an absolute ripper squid. I love them. So as you can tell, my kids know what to do. All right, check this out. I'll open this one up for you guys. Look at that for a natural colour of a squid. Tell me that does not look like a calamari. It's even got the wings. Right? They've even got the wings. I can't wait to start throwing. I'll even throw these land-based this year. Better still, I'm going to come up with a... Let's come up with a competition with Paul. Now I'm calling you out, Paul. Alright? Once we're back on the water, alright, we're going to do a bait v lure. I'm going to go just purely with lure rods. 2 lure rods. Paul can have his 4 bait rods out. Okay? We'll see who catches more fish over the whole entire trip. But we'll wait for a day where the snapper are red hot. So 16 degrees and above for this. So you want it, the conditions fair. Active snapper, feeding snapper. Okay? You don't want a slow day where it's cold and all that and the plastics might work more. Or the bait's going to work more. You don't want to disadvantage the other person. Right? So we're going to go 16 degrees and above, high barometer, feeding snapper. Okay? We're going to go and do a competition with that. Let's go into rigging. So I've got the jig head there. There's a line down the middle of the plastic, believe it or not. So what you're going to want to do first, I've got my cat climbing on me, is you're going to want to push that point of the jig head in smack bang in the middle of the plastic. Now when you're doing that, see the way my plastic is sitting? The belly's facing out. You don't want the belly facing in. If you have the belly facing in, you're going to come out through here and your plastic's going to be rigged upside down. So always have the back of the plastic or the top of the plastic facing the jig head, like so. Then what we're going to do is we're going to push it. Now that point will tell you exactly where it wants to come out, like it just did then, right? As long as you've got that 100% straight, like this, check that out. Oh, there we go. Straight, smack bang down the middle of the plastic. If I let the plastic go, check that out. It sits 100% straight. I've got full hook exposure. That is ready for snapper fishing. You want to make sure your jig head is also flush up against the plastic. Now, what size jig head for what depth? What size hook on the jig head for the plastics? Let's go through that quickly. Now, if you're fishing, if you're fishing 3 meters, this is ballpark figure, 3 meters to 7 meters, okay? 3 meters to 7 meters, so your early morning or late evening snapper sessions. You're gonna want a 1/12 in that, say 3-4 meters, even 4.5, right? To a 1/8. Now the 1/8 will also cover you, from that 3 to 8 meters of water or 7 meters of water, right? Once you get to 9, 10, 11, 12, you're going to want a 1/4 jig head, okay? Then once you go from 12 to 20, you can either use two styles of jig heads, your 1/4, or you can go the next size up, right? That way you're covering all bases of depths of water. Reason for that being is the 1/12 in that shallow water, real shallow water, it'll give the plastic a natural sink rate, natural presentation coming down. If you went, let's say we went a 1/4, right, in 3 meters of water, that plastic's going to go. When the snapper looks at it, as you work it, it's just going to go, right? It's just going to come up, it's going to go down, it's going to come up, it's going to come down, right? It's not going to look right. It's going to come up so quick, go down so quick, go up so quick, down so quick. It's not good, right? It's not going to look natural. In saying that, if you used a 1/12 in 20 meters of water, it will A, take you around forever to hit the bottom, and B, it will be that slow. It'll give the snapper enough time to have a look at it, suss it out and go, nah, not eating that. So you got to do your depth, your jig. So you got to do the size of jig heads, or the weight of the jig heads, I should say, to the depths that you're fishing. So if you're planning a proper soft plastics fishing out in Port Phillip Bay, and it also coincides with the wind and the conditions as well, take a variety of jig heads. The size of the hook of the jig head also varies to the size of the soft plastics you're going to use. Okay, so you got your 1/0s, your 2/0s, and all that sort of stuff with the hooks that are on the jig heads. Okay, so you're going to want a variety of size of hooks as well. All right, jig heads with hooks. That way you can match them up to each plastic. Because again, if you have the hook right at the top of the plastic, you're going to miss a lot of bites, or you might get only 1 or 2 fish. If you have the hook all the way down near the tail, it might affect the swim pattern of the fish. It might affect the swim action of the soft plastic, or you could also miss a lot of fish that attack at midsection. Fluoro, so embed those words into your heads. Fluorocarbon leader. Now, when it comes to fluorocarbon, some of it's come undone, who cares? You're going to want to vary the weights, because sometimes the lighter the leader can get you more bites, right? Heavier leader sometimes can be an adverse towards catching more fish. So what is the range of leader materials that you're going to need when soft plastics fishing? So we're going to go through a whole range up here right now. You're going to want to start off at around bare minimum for snapper, 12 pound minimum. I mean, you can go your 8 and your 10s. I do use 10s as well. But yes, you're going to go lighter. Yes, you're going to get more bites. But yes, you will lose more fish once you start finding those big schools of snapper. So my recommendations for leader material right here, 12 to 16 pound. You can take yourself all the way up to 20 pound in deeper water for those really bigger fish. But if you like to challenge yourself, go lighter. Remember, lighter the leader, more bites you're going to get. So that's all. Everyone that knows me knows I am a freak for lures, whether it be soft plastics, whether it be hard bodies. The biggest challenge in snapper fishing to me is getting snapper on hard bodies. There are so many hard bodies on the market. Now, some of these hard bodies I actually use on the trout too, so you might see them feature in other episodes and you're going to sit there and go, huh? He just said he's going to use trout lures on. It's the brand of lure. It's the type of lure. It's called a Sticks Minnow, right? This one's one of my favorites for shallow water fishing, whether it's for multiple species. But we're talking about snapper today, and it actually works on snapper. So there's various colors and stuff like that. You've got your blue and green, white. You've got pilchard color. Then you've got your mackerel color. So we're just going to stick with this color to show you guys. This lure here swims from 0.5 to around 2 meters deep, right? 2.5. If I let it sink a little bit more, because it does sink, I could probably almost stretch that out to 3 meters in depth. And that's taking it as a stretch. So here's the lure up here so you can see it properly. Now, this lure here will catch you school snapper. I wouldn't be using that on 5-6 kilo reeds. So we're talking about, let's go snapper sizes, 30 centimeters to around 50 centimeters, okay? If you're fishing 3 meters to 4 meters of water, or even less for snapper on your boat and you're anchored, throw that around you might land a couple of fish, right? If you're drifting with soft plastics with a friend and nothing else is working, they're not touching the plastics, throw that bad boy in, all right? Throw one of the hard body minnows in. Doesn't have to be that brand. It's just throw a minnow in that is a shallow diving minnow. And I'm telling you now, you're going to catch snapper on hard bodies. This year, I've set myself a little bit of a secret challenge. I know I can do it on the boat. I've done it on the boat so many times, all right? Sorry, wrong lure. Colour, so you can see. I've done it so many times, right? I've caught snapper on hard bodies before. I love it. It's a challenge and I love it. The only thing I haven't done this year, well, not this year, all my life, is a snapper on, not a hard body as a rubber vibe or something like that, as in a hard body minnow lure, land-based. So I'm going to be trying that my hardest this year. I'm going to set myself a little challenge and hopefully by the end of the year, or by the end of snapper season, I can land one. So minnow lures for snapper, you're going to want, if you're fishing 2 meters to 4 meters, you want that 0.5 to a 3 meter diving lure, natural colors. So let's go the color range. So these are the lures I've got, as you know, I keep picking them up. These are the ones that I'm using for shallow water. So I'm just going to show these ones up here. So you got your greens that will represent yakkers, slimies, you name it, right? White bait, even the ones with green on it, even baby salmon. Snapper loves salmon. You're going to want your minnow style colors, so your blues with a bit of greens and silvers as well mixed in into it. Then you're going to want your pilchard colors as well, because obviously the bait is full of pilchards. Then you're going to want silvers, which represents white bait. Now, a little bit more of a challenge. Let's go into the next phase of hard bodies. Oh crap! And that's what happens when you wear a plaster. Houston, we have a problem. Uh-oh. Okay, got it off. That was a close one. Anyway, these can be cast, believe it or not. These ones here, oops, sorry. These are a DTX. All right, so it's another nomad braid. I love nomads. I don't know why, but their lures work. Rapalas are really good on snapper as well. So variety of hard bodies. Again, same thing. So this one's dives up to 20 foot. So you can control it still. So let's go say 4 meters to 8 meters, right? You're going to want a lure that's going to be just sitting off the bottom of the bay to a couple of meters off the bottom, right? So you've got to vary the depths. Now, casting these at schools of snapper is very deadly, right? Very deadly on them. Again, in the shallows. Now, hard body fishing for snapper is really a shallow water fishery unless you've got a downrigger, which I don't, so I won't go into that bit. I have done it before, but I've just stopped doing downriggers. Nothing personal against downriggers, it's just I don't like using them. Too much stuff to go. I'm a simpleton. Anyway, so when you're using hard body minnows, diving minnows, you're going to want to vary your depths. So if you're out in say 4 to 8 meters of water, you're going to want that lure that dives to around, say in 4 meters, you want one that dives to 3 meters. If you're in 6 meters, you're going to want one that dives to 5 meters, and then so forth. So you figure out the depths and make sure it's a sinking lure so you can sink it down to that depth as well. Cast them out, retrieve them, and hopefully you can get a good rig. Same as land-based. Cast these out, roll them back in. You're going to get a fish on them, right? So, and you can also troll these in the shallows too. If you get real bored at casting plastics and other stuff, go for a bit of a troll. You might pick up the odd salmon while doing it, but these work trolling as well. Again, colors, all natural. I love natural colors when it comes to snapper. Except for these ones, when you get hitting lures this big, guys, even the old Qantas redhead, we use them in tuna, so a lot of people know about those. So you want your natural colors, you want your whites, your silvers. You want your greens that represent slimy mackerel and yakkers. You want your blues that represent pilchards and stuff like that, and blue bait. You want your greens with blue, like a blue sides in them, and silvery, that represents just a minnow altogether. Okay, and you want lures with single hooks. Don't use the trebles. I've got to take the trebles off that one. That one's a brand new one. I had to replace it. Believe it or not, I was actually, before my arm injury, before snapper season in the winter, when I was just doing a bit of land basing by myself in those little tiny patches of windows of weather, I was hoping to get something on footage. I went casting those off some rocks, and not in the bay, but I was along the Great Ocean Road. Took the family for a drive. I decided to stop at a pair of rocks, and looked good. It was flat. Threw that out 4 or 5 times. Hooked something really decent. Peeled line. Didn't bust me off or anything, but I lost it due to the trebles. That lure was that damaged. It had teeth. Whatever it was had good teeth in it. Either a winter snapper offshore, could have been it wouldn't have been a big barracuda. I don't care what anyone says. That doesn't peel a line like that. Could have been a tailor. Could have been a big snook. Could have been anything. It was offshore. Definitely wasn't a tuna. So I won't go down that road because I would have been spooled. But whatever it was aggressive, it had teeth, and it destroyed my lure, and I was shattered. So I went and just replaced that not long ago. So I'm going to take those triples off. So hard body fishing, minnow fishing can be very, very effective when it comes to snapper. It can be very fun, and it can be very challenging, also rewarding. So we'll go through the colors again. You want your natural colors. You're going to vary your depths. Make sure you've got your lure range into it. You got to make sure your lures sit a meter off the bottom. So figure out the depth you're going to go fishing first. Oh, guys, we're going to be fishing 4 meters, 5 meters, 6 meters all morning, and that's it. Well, then you're going to want lures that will sit a meter off the bottom each time. If your lure says what it is in feet, convert that to meters. Because you don't want your lure hitting the bottom. Obviously, snaggy reefs and stuff you're going to snag. Max height off the bottom, I'll say 1.5, right? Because the snapper feed in that 2 meter zone off the bottom, right? From 2 meters to from the bottom to 2 meters up is the snapper's feeding zone. They do come up mid-water chasing schools of bait fish sometimes, but it's very rare that you'll hook one doing that. Unless you're out deep and you've got unweighted bait going down, you might get one like that. But with lure-wise, they feed in that 2 meter bottom zone. So you want that lure sitting within that 2 meter bottom zone. And I'm saying your ideal depth is in between that, which is 1.5, 1 to 1 meter. If you're fishing, like 6 meters, you want a 3 meter, a lure that will sit 3 meters off the bottom to 2.5 off the bottom, okay? Because you don't want to lose your lures as well. But you need that lure in front of their face the whole time. And don't get disheartened if you've been casting for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and you know the snapper there, they're not hitting. Change your colors, change the style of lure, go from a fat body to a skinny body, go to a silver to a blue. Swapping it over will trigger a reaction from the snapper because they can get too used to seeing a certain color. That goes with soft plastics too. If you're using a red jerk shad, red, right, you keep using red, no bites. What am I going to do? You go to a white and so forth. All right, so we're coming to the end of the episode now. The other style of lure fishing for snapper I love doing, and this works for land-based guys a lot as well, okay? Vibing. Not metal vibes, rubber vibe. Now I'm going to go straight away with my favourite rubber vibes, and they're the only brand that does it at the moment. There will be brands, I reckon, will come out with them in the future. Squid imitations. Calamari, squid, whatever you want to call those ones, right? This, I reckon it looks like a calamari. Just doesn't, they have the wings drawn on it, but they don't have the wings coming off it. But this is a rubber vibe. Now, again, check out the color vibes in my squid. What did I say with the soft plastic side of things? With squid, it has to be natural. I'm sorry, but it has to be natural. They're already down there chasing those squid. Well, you want them seeing the natural color. So I've got that one, and then in the same size, I've got that one. Don't ask me these weights. These weights are heavy. These are for deeper ones. Then I've got medium ones, right? See, it's got a bit of lines in it, like what calamari get. And then remember when I said with the plastics, even with calamari, don't be afraid to use black and gold and stuff like that. I've even got it there. There you go, black and gold, right? In the very small one. So these all weighted differently, okay? Don't ask me the weights off by heart because I haven't got the packaging anymore. I can judge what I want to use with the depths. So again, it's like a jig head with the vibe of the squid. Match the squid weight to the depths you're going to be fishing, right? And that's just purely for the fact of the natural sink rate. You don't want that squid vibe rocketing to the bottom. And so be it, you want the same when it comes to your fish vibes. Again, match the size to the match the hatch to the fish that you're chasing. Bigger fish, bigger lure sometimes. Even the small lures work on snapper. You want to match the lures. You don't want to use one that's like this big, yeah, for a snapper. Stick to your bait size vibes. Yet again, match the weight to the depth you're going. Okay, match the weight to the depth. And also natural as possible colors. One thing I will say with these fish ones, if you can take those trebles off and put singles on, you'll get actually less snags on the weedy bottoms and stuff like that. Even if you don't lose them to the weed bottom, those trebles will clog up with weed all the time. Same as the squid one. The squid ones have got assist hooks on them, but the tentacles can fill up with a bit of weed every now and then, so make sure you clean your lure. I do have a couple of the vibes in the garage at the moment, packed ready for a trip once the weather lets us and once I'm now back fishing. I've got some with assist hooks, so don't be afraid to even use assist hooks on those vibes. So we'll go through the vibes one more time with you guys. Natural colors when it comes to calamari, right? Style jigs, right? Vary the sizes, vary the weights. Fish vibes, right? Rubber ones, don't use the metal ones. Rubber ones are way better, right? Like you got your natural presentations yet again. You want your bait fish presentations all the time, right? The snapper aren't stupid. I'm sorry, but it goes with that cliche. Fish don't get big from being stupid, okay? So again, with the rubber vibes, doesn't matter if it's squid, doesn't matter if it's a fish one. Natural presentation, so natural colors. Vary the weights to the depths that you're going to be fishing. So you might want to get a couple of squid vibes or a couple of fish vibes and vary the sizes to the target of your species. That kind of stuff, targeting the size of the lure for the size of the fish, you'll get a feel for that as you go along. And I will explain more of that when I'm out in the water next. And there's various brands out there, yeah, guys. You don't just have to use that brand, even though they have good colors. I've got Berkeley ones. I've got Rapala. I've got all the other brands, you know. But these are the ones that are in the best condition because these are the most newest. That's why I was using them for demonstrational purposes. So, guys, that is the Snapper Tactics Part 2, soft plastics and lure fishing for snapper. Now, you take all that into practice out in the water. What you can do to triple your chances of catching, guess what? Take Snapper Tactics Part 1's tactics, put a spread of rods out if you're out in the boat or land-based, put a spread of rods out. Remember to keep to the rules and regulations, it's 4 rods per person. All right, so you put your 3 rods out on the boat, 3 rods out on the land base, and always have a lure rod with you, right? Work a lure while you're bait fishing. It triples your chances of catching fish. Keeps you moving, keeps you occupied, keeps you from being bored, wait for the catches. Because let's face it, sometimes even in the best conditions, the snappers can be hard to catch, right? Or if you're out there just lure fishing, take everything that you learned today into practice and you're going to catch way more fish. Same as bait fishing from Snapper Tactics Part 1, convert that and you're going to catch way more fish. All the information I've given you guys today and last week's episode works both boat, land-based and other states too. Even though I'm talking about Port Phillip Bay, you can match the conditions to what we have here, bays, estuaries or whatever, and it will work for you. Now guys, with the lure side of things especially, these lures may feature in other videos coming up. These plastics may feature in other episodes coming up in the future when I'm out in the estuaries or in freshwater as well, because there's a lot more tactics videos coming up soon in between, hopefully. Even though it's sunny, let's face it, the Mother Nature can sometimes stuff you. But it's once I'm back out in the water too, guys. So what we might be doing is the next episode or the episode after that, I don't know yet. I might do the snapper bait, snapper rigs and snapper tackle as well. Okay, so your rods and reels as well coming up in a combined episode soon. So keep an eye out for that one, guys. There will be a part 3 Snapper Tactics coming soon. Like I said, there's not many videos like these out there because I'm going to be covering all 3 bases to make sure you're not just set up for this snapper season, but you're set up for all the other snapper seasons to come. I'll see you guys out in the water. I'm going to go find out if my mate's catching fish because I'm stuck at home. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.